Van Dyke had been off for a while, and with Van Dyke went a certain kind of smart comedy, I think.
Yeah.
It was CBS who looked at it and said, we think there's something here that we could build a show around. And so they called me and said, would you like that? And I said, yes!
And then it became a matter of getting good creative people to create a show for Mary.
Grant was aware of the talents of Jim Brooks and Ellen Burns, who I think had worked together once on one project, but mostly had done their own things.
Jim had created a really good show called Room 222. It was a comedy about an inner city high school, but it had some meaningful stuff in it. It was a wonderful show. And Jim asked me to come over, and that was really the first time Jim and I got thrown in together. And it's where we met Grant.
Grant Tinker was the head of 20th Century Fox Television, which was producing the show. And Mary got an on-the-air commitment right after the first season, I think, of 222.
Grant said, I think there could be magic with those two men working together.
He kind of approached us separately about how would you like
being
to
a team.
do.
Yeah, that was amazing because we didn't get together and said let's do it together. He questioned each of us individually.
Yeah, I remember you called me and said, "Listen, you know what he's talking about? It's not just doing a show; it's doing a show with Mary," which interested us. Who wouldn't be?
We loved her. We loved the idea of doing a show for her. We were television writers. It was a great opportunity. Loved the idea of working together. It seemed like it would be, terrific. And because Grant was still the president of 20th Century Fox Television, and this was sort of, weird wearing two hats, that he was totally in the closet.
Yeah, I handle it in the dark of night, in a way. I mean, obviously, Mary and I were married, so, there was plenty of opportunity to talk about the show. But I had a very understanding boss at Fox, a guy named Bill Self, who was there for years and ran television. And he just kind of allowed me to have a foot in each one of these.
So we were the fronts for the business part of what became MTM as well. So we were not only totally naive, it was up to us to, one day we had to hire an accountant. I mean, we were doing these business things as the writers of the show.
Which we didn't know how to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was all fun. It was all not, we took the writing seriously in a certain way, but it was lark-like because there was no context for it. We were in this office all by ourselves. There was no boss around. It was just us. We were MTM. The guy who really was the boss couldn't say he was the boss out loud. So it was odd.
And so we began talking about what that show might be.